This video is being recorded for parents and guardians that have attended open house, or for anybody who was not able to attend open house that would like more information about the engineering class that you are seeing on your child's schedule this year. I wanted to start off with a thank you and just thank you for taking the time to watch this quick video and for your support as a parent or guardian of one of our students here at Atlantic Coast. Education is my passion. I really love what I do. I don't have feelers out to go and do anything else. I love coming to work every day, and I recognize that I cannot do it without the support of parents and guardians at home. So I really hope that this video answers your most critical questions and opens up an avenue for communication throughout the school year, and that you as a parent feel like you can communicate with me about whatever is happening in the classroom with your child. A brief introduction to myself. I am originally from a city in New England called Brockton. I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm not from Jacksonville, and I'm not from Florida, and I'm not even from the South. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, and you'll see that in another slide or so when we talk about what classes we offer in engineering at Atlantic Coast. And I have an MAT in mathematics. I have been at Atlantic Coast since the second year that the school was open. So I've been here for a very long time. There's a small collection of people that are the originals that have been here for a year longer. Prior to being at Atlantic Coast, I was over at Twin Lakes Middle for 4 years. I currently teach Algebra 2. So I still have my hand in the math department here at AC. I also teach Intro to Engineering Design and Digital Electronics. Additionally, I coach Marathon High. That is a club sport where we train for the Donna Half Marathon in February. And so I'm a big advocate with the students of making sure that they are well-rounded and that they make time for other things. And so one of the other things that I try to make time for in my own life is for running, and belong to a local running club, and I enjoy sharing that with the students as well. So what are IED and digital electronics, and why should students be taking them? And this is a really common question. Now, for some students that have heard about the engineering program, they intentionally sign up for this as their elective, and this is what they're going to do. This is going to be their like niche in high school. Other students are just trying to fill an elective slot, and so a class sounds kind of interesting, they just sign up for it. And then some students might just have wound up in the class because of the way the schedule has worked out. So what are these classes? IED, which is Intro to Engineering Design, is a foundational course covering different disciplines of engineering with a focus on how engineers think about solving problems. And so it's really just this intro to what do engineers do and how do they think? How do they solve problems? How do they approach designing things? What do we do with criteria, constraints? How do we learn how to fit a project into a budget or into a timeline? That class hones problem-solving skills, creativity, and collaboration skills, which is one of those soft skills, the ability to work well with others that often get overlooked in other kinds of classes. We solve a variety of different kinds of problems throughout the year, and I love watching students be creative. And for many students, that can be very uncomfortable at first. They want really strict guidelines, like this is what your final product has to look like. But once they get used to the idea that they can explore their own thoughts or ideas of how to go about solving a problem, it really helps them be creative and to look at problem solving differently. A huge benefit to taking IED is that students can test for industry certification in Fusion 360, which is a CAD program. So at the time I'm recording this video, we haven't gotten started on that, but it's like the next thing that we're going to get started with. And so students will learn how to design their own things in a CAD program, and an industry certification is an industry recognized certification that shows colleges and prospective employers that a student has learned a software program and has passed a competency test in it. And so it's the kind of thing that can go onto not just their college applications, but their resumes as well, for when they begin applying for jobs. And I tell them, even if you decide not to be an engineer, if you can have that certification on there, it shows that you can do a variety of different things and that you are capable of learning a challenging software. Shortly, the students will begin designing things and using our 3D printers to print them. Digital electronics is more closely related to what my undergraduate degree is in, which is that circuitry, that electrical engineering. It is a foundational course in digital electronics circuit design that overlaps a college level course in what, when I took it, was called digital logic. That course develops a strong background in Boolean algebra, which I think is super cool because I've got one foot in the math department, and Boolean algebra is not something that typically gets covered in high school level math classes. And so they learn a lot of Boolean algebra and logic, which might help them in some college level math classes, even though this technically is an engineering class. Students also learn the fundamentals of circuit design, and there's a lot of troubleshooting in digital electronics where they will design a circuit, it's supposed to do a particular thing, and then it doesn't. And then learning that perseverance of going back and methodically testing a circuit to see where the problem is. And that's one of those thinking skills, reasoning skills, and perseverance skills that will transfer over into all kinds of areas of life because things don't always happen the way that we plan for them to happen. Both classes do offer an honors elective credit. So they count as electives, but they count as honors level electives, which is usually good news for students who are concerned about their GPA and whether or not they should be taking an AP class versus an elective class, knowing that this won't affect that aspect of their high school transcript. Also, both classes offer the PLTW final exam that can qualify for college credit at some partner schools. And even if a student is not applying to one of the partner schools, they can still forward their PLTW score to see what a college might be willing to give them for it. So what resources are available for support? The engineering classes are definitely unique. And if you've talked to your child about what we've done in class so far, you'll see, especially with IED, this is not a conventional kind of class. Over the last few years, I have developed online resources for my students. This was something that began in COVID when we had to move so much of our instruction over to a digital platform, which was incredibly difficult for engineering because so much of it is hands-on and collaborative. And what do you do when you have to teach that from home? And so I developed a lot of that and then realized this is actually a really good resource for students to have. So these resources are helpful for making up work after an absence or reviewing concepts from class that may have been covered quickly. And what I tell my engineering students is that this is your first place that you go when you've been absent from class or when you realize like you've missed a concept or you need to figure out what's going on. The resources include copies of worksheets. So anything that I have scanned or digitized, I will make sure that I upload it. The ability to upload work to focus from home whenever it is possible. And this is the key part, is lesson videos that go over the same lesson that was presented in class. And unlike scrounging YouTube to see if we can find a video on a subject that may or may not relate to what was covered in class, I record all of my own videos, much like I'm recording this one. So a student that watches one of the videos that's posted will be getting the same material that students that were in class were able to get. These resources can be accessed via the OneNote notebook, which is linked on our Teams page. So I pulled one of them. I think I pulled IED to take a look at. Yes, so this is from IED, and we are in lesson 1.1. And as we add more lessons to it, they will appear above lesson 1.1 on the menu there. And what a student can do is they can find the days in question. They will find the activity number. Now, the activity number is a reference to their curriculum, which is online, which they all have logins for at this point. And they can go and look at the curriculum itself. Now, this one says 9/11 through question mark, and that has to do with the fact that I am very flexible with this. A lot of the projects are hands-on, and they really rely on how things go on a particular day, and all kinds of things can happen on any particular day. And so that is what we are currently working on, and we do not have a final date for it yet. Once that gets like locked down and I know when I'm going to be moving on to the next thing, I will make sure that I go back and edit that and plug that in with the date. Right now we are working on the Fun Fair project. And so a student that was absent on the day that the project was introduced can click right there and watch a summary video, and they can get all of the content. And I tell students, this is the expectation for when you are out, is that you are going to look at what is posted for that day and make sure you watch any and all videos. If you are not sure if you need to watch the video or watch all of the video, reach out to me and I'll give you more details about that. There are also copies of, we have here the design brief template, the testing tracker, and then kind of off the bottom there, the design proposal outline. So we have been working on building carnival games in IED and going through like the testing process, the design process, and so forth. And a similar notebook is also available for digital electronics that goes through everything that we are doing in class. So I think that's one of the things that's unique to my classes. Now, tutoring, my tutoring day is Mondays. I set that aside until 3 p.m. I'm also available by appointments. By appointment just means a student needs to check with me and make sure that I'm available that day. I don't have a doctor's appointment or something. I'm not coaching that day or something. Now, this is really essential for work that can only be done in class. And that is true for digital electronics really specifically, because we do a lot of work in a software program called Multisim that simulates circuits. And that software is only available on the engineering laptops that we have in school. And so if a student falls quite a ways behind and they can't make it up in class time, then they need to be able to arrange another time to come. And it might not even be for like tutoring. It might just be to come in and grab one of the computers and sit there for an hour and just work on a circuit that they've fallen behind on. But they should be watching the video first and studying the online curriculum first so that they know what it is that they're going to do when they come in. And the same is true for IED kids with Fusion. If there's a skill that they were absent for, they should go and watch the video for it. Fusion does have an at-home version that students can access on their student laptops, at least we think they will, that if there's a filtering issue with the new filter, we'll troubleshoot that when it comes. Grading is done on what's called a points-based system. So each assignment is worth a certain number of points, and then a student's final grade is the points earned divided by the points that were possible. So students really should not throw away points. If I post a rubric, they need to go read it and find out how to get those points. With my engineering classes, I am generally flexible with many deadlines. So there'll be a deadline listed in Focus, but as I said, sometimes stuff goes wrong. Sometimes we're going to do an online thing with Fusion and then we lose all the Wi-Fi and none of the computers will connect, or it's just stuff happens. And so and even with like a project, sometimes the students will glue a whole bunch of things together and then it turns out the glue doesn't hold really well and they just have to reboot from a certain spot backwards in their timeline. And I want them to be creative, and I don't want them to be afraid of things going wrong, because then they'll always play it safe. And so I try not to hold deadlines over their heads. Now I will eventually impose late penalties on stuff, but I will often announce in class when that will happen, and it's pretty generous, so that it's like really something that could have been done at home and it's now 3 weeks past and I still don't have it. Things like that. And students can always come to me if they have concerns about a missing grade in the grade book or something that they're afraid of how it's going to roll out for them. And I tell them all the time, I am not out to ambush you with your grades or surprise you or anything like that. I really want to work with students so that they can learn as much as possible from the classes that they're taking. And then lastly here, replacement credit is not available. That is kind of when a student comes and says that they want to do something else to improve their grade instead of the work that is actually listed in Focus. So it's important that each student has the same opportunities to improve their grades in class. I do not do specific assignments for 1 or 2 students because they just asked me to do something totally different than what the rest of the class had available to them. I did want to take a moment and talk about the Engineering Academy. So we do have several CTE academies at Atlantic Coast, and the Engineering Academy is one of them. All students that are enrolled in an engineering class are a part of the Engineering Academy. Told them on the first day, don't forget about that. You maybe didn't know that you were going to be a part of an academy. It's just any student that is taking an engineering class is considered part of the academy. Students who earn a grade of C or higher in at least 3 courses in the engineering sequence will receive an honor cord at graduation. And students don't have to remain a part of the academy if they take one engineering class and then they decide they want to do something else. That option is available for them. But obviously, we want them to continue in the program, and we would love to give out tons of honor cords for students that get a C or higher in at least 3 of the classes. Both students and parents can serve on our advisory board. So I'm going to make a plug for this because I need some parent representatives. So we lost our parent representative from last year, and we're looking for a new parent to participate. It is what the commitment is. It's 4 meetings a year, and members must attend at least 3, should attend at least 3. I do understand that life gets in the way, but it's basically just 4 times a year. They are held on Zoom. So I tell the kids, you can do it from your living room, from your car, wherever you can hop into the Zoom meeting, and put yourself on mute. That's totally fine. They are kept to 40 minutes or less. So essentially and I try to aim for 30 minutes or less and try to be really efficient with the time on those meetings. So essentially it's 30 to 40 minutes, 4 times a year. And what we do in those meetings is we discuss the Academy accreditation process. We are going for Master Academy this year. So we're looking to up the level of where we are accredited, and we develop goals for the academy. We look at guest speaker opportunities or opportunities for field trips. You do not need to be an engineer or have any background in engineering whatsoever to serve on the advisory board. It is simply looking for the input and perspective of a parent of a student in the program. So like I said, we lost our parent representative from last year, so we are looking for a parent to serve on the board. So please contact me via email. It'll be on the next slide if you are at all interested or just have questions. I promise it's fun, and the meetings are short, and we're just looking for parental input in that. Our first meeting is this Thursday, the 21st, at 4:30 via Zoom. So if you're interested, I can send that Zoom link out to you as soon as I set it up for everybody else. What I've also told some students that are interested is I've said, the first meeting, just go ahead and log in. You don't have to show us your face. You don't have to say anything. You can just kind of listen in and hear what the meeting was about, and that's fine as well. So please let me know if you are interested in that. And there's my email. So how do you contact me? My preferred method of contact is email. I just find it easier. I can reply to you whenever. I actually have the other engineering class, Principles of Engineering, travels into my classroom during my planning periods. So I don't have a whole lot of privacy in my classroom at any point during the school day. There are always students in there. And so I can be more flexible in replying to you through email than with a phone call. So that is my preferred contact. My email is Taylor R. Please don't put a number after that, or it'll go to the other Rebecca Taylor at duvalschools.org, and I will respond to you as soon as I can. I will make sure that I get your questions and concerns answered. Conferences, if you'd like to meet face-to-face, they can be scheduled through Ms. Paula Rearick. Her email is rearickp@duvalschools.org, and you can request conferences with multiple teachers at once. And so if the engineering course is a concern and also some other course, make sure you let her know that, and you can put as many teachers as you want onto that conference invite. We don't get a say in when those conferences are scheduled. So if there's a reason I cannot attend a conference, whether because I am ill and absent that day or I was chaperoning a field trip, these things happen, I will be sure to contact you personally and let you know that I cannot attend, and we'll try to work through whatever questions you have via phone or through some other means if I'm not available for the conference. So I hope that this video answered most or all of your questions about engineering. Thank you again for watching, and you have my contact information if you want to discuss anything further. Thank you.